Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me read a statement. This is the President of the United States, February 5th, 2009, talking about the stimulus program. This plan will create or save over 3 million jobs. February 5th, 2009, February 9, 2010, the Bureau of Labor Statistics says the stimulus program that there are now 24% fewer job openings in the private sector. Nearly 3 million jobs have been lost. Hiring in the private sector has decreased by 9%, and unemployment has gone from under 8% to nearly 10%. Here's a statement by Majority Whip Mr. Clyburn that the stimulus program will create 3.5 million jobs. February 13, 2009, Bureau of Labor Statistics, February 5, 2010. National deficit is now $12.5 trillion with, now I guess that would be the debt, with over 2.8 million jobs lost. Speaker Polciies said that if we do not pass it, each month 500,000 Americans will lose their jobs. I think that that's what happened after we did pass it. Yet you're telling me the stimulus program is good. I would suggest to you that more people have experienced Elvis sightings than have seen jobs created by the stimulus program. And if you guys think it's working, I suggest you go out to the Main Street in America and talk to the people. The economy is showing signs of recovery despite the stimulus program, despite irresponsible spending, despite misguided and excessive regulatory burdens. The private sector is recovering because of the business cycle. If we really want to help create jobs, we got to get away from big business and big government solutions for everything. We need targeted regulatory and tax relief for small businesses, and we need to help community banks, not the big boys on Wall Street who are always going to get their bailouts. I want to talk to you a little bit about the deficit, because I keep hearing how horrible everything was that this administration inherited. From 1995 to 2007, the Republican Party, which spent too much money, the Republican deficits accumulated to $1.2 trillion, and in 2009, the deficit alone was $1.4 trillion. 12 years of Republican majority rule in the House and 3 years of Democrat majority rule in the House, and you got a deficit bigger than 12 years accumulated. But that's not the end of it, because you got another deficit this year projected at $1.6 trillion, followed by $1.3 trillion the next year. And some of those programs, which the President supported when he was in the Senate, a stimulus program in May of 08, $168 billion. July of 08, a Fannie Mae bailout, $200 billion. November of 08, $700 billion TARP program. And then as President, January 09, $410 billion omnibus spending bill. February 09, $787 billion stimulus bill. And then not to mention the Federal Reserve, $29 billion in March of 08 for Bear Stearns. September of 08, $84 billion for AIG, now up to $140 billion. And now a government takeover of health care that's about $1 trillion when all's said and done. And we're talking about a spending like taking a squirt gun to a forest fire. It is not going to do the trick. I guess my question to you would be, with 37% of our revenues, of our spending, 37% revenues plus deficit, 37% is deficit spending. If you, knowing what you know now, had to do it again, would you pass the exact same stimulus program 1 year ago? Are we that pleased with it down there on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that we think it's perfect? Or would you go back and say, I would have done this a little bit differently? And if so, what would you have done?
Well, let me at least start. I think the most important thing to understand is the incredible downward trajectory that this economy was on. I just have to remind you, at this time last year, we were losing more than 700,000 jobs a month. This was an economy that was headed down incredibly fast. The Recovery Act has absolutely played a key role in turning that around, and inevitably, where you see it first is it slows the rate of job loss before it finally adds to positive job gains. You ask, How do you know it's working? Well, I can certainly give you our estimates. We certainly can talk about all of the other analysts, including the Congressional Budget Office, that say it is saving and creating jobs. But if you just go out into America, you will find 12,000 transportation projects.
I actually do go out in America, and that's where I get a lot of my information. No one believes it's working.